What you sipping on, man?
This is just water, and then I got some whiskey over here.
Oh, okay. No, that's the real stuff.
Can't go wrong with whiskey whatsoever. All right. 3, 2, 1. Yo, yo, yo. You already know what it is. It's your boy Kev, always been a Don. And of course, this is the Modern Crowd Podcast. Podcast with Hoop Dreams. Of course, I got my boy Luigi. Say it with me. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? Yo, Kelvin. Once again, you killing that yo every time you
Yeah,
come in.
I know, man.
I'm better, dog.
I'm not choking on the third yo. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, like I think that's where it's at. I think it's that transition from the second to third in the year. That's been kind of like messing you up a little bit, but your mechanics getting better, sir.
Word, being in the mirror and practicing it over and over, it just gets better and better.
Take that deep breath.
Word. But I got one of the winners from the IG Live Artist Showcase. Our first one. My boy.
Wait, bro. Come on now. We got a special guest. Come on.
Oh, and that's it. He wants to say special guest. All right.
Bro, he won the competition. You're not just going to introduce him like any old person. It's like, oh, so we got this person. Like, come on, man.
All right. We got a special guest here. Word. You got golden ticket. We got a special guest here. My boy Steve, Mr. Phil Young. What's up, man?
What's up? How you guys doing? Thanks for having me.
And no problem, man. So, of course, we listened to your music, and I thought it was absolutely amazing. First of all, I just want to say that.
Cool.
First question we always start off with, man. How did you get into rap?
Yo, I always liked. I kind of used to look up to whatever music my sister would listen to, and she was listening to Limp Bizkit, and so I was listening to that and Korn, and then at some point I heard the song "End Together Now," which has Limp Bizkit featuring Method Man. And I just loved that. I would like recite their verses like all the time. And then somewhere along, I started listening to eventually like, Lil Wayne and 50 Cent. This is probably like in middle school. And then I think in high school is when I really started writing. And then in college, and the stuff I was writing, it was so bad. It was like really trash. It was just like,
this is called building blocks. We ain't gonna call it trash. Just building blocks.
It was a building block. That's good. It was a place to go from. But yeah, it was just like talking about guns and drugs and all the stuff that in the music I was listening to. I started writing about that kind of stuff, that subject matter, and then I started listening to Common in college and kind of getting into more conscious rap, stuff that more storytelling, and that really was a big inspiration to me. So I started writing more realistic, more personal stuff, telling a narrative, and then just like always trying to keep things positive. So that's really, in college is when I first started like seriously writing and recording.
Okay. Well, so I know you just said that, at first you was writing down all about, of course, who you were listening to. Is it because you're writing that way? Because I know me, I'm not going to lie, I always say it on every podcast. I'm trying to be a rapper myself, I'd be freestyling in front of the mirror, but that's how far it goes. But,
yeah. And I tell you every show, Kelvin.
Every I'm trying, my mixtape's coming out soon, man.
Kelvin,
it's coming out.
You can achieve.
Yo. But I want to know because
that's all.
No facts. The reason why I asked that is because a lot of people when they start off they want to sound like the rappers that they listen to because they think that's the direction that they're supposed to go. Is that what when you first start rapping? Is that what you kind of heard?
Honestly, I think that it wasn't necessarily that I was trying to like live that lifestyle that like Lil Wayne and 50 Cent were talking about. I feel like that was just all I really knew as far as music went. Like I just didn't listen to anything other than like gangster rap. I didn't listen to like, like anything really of like kind of the stuff that I'm doing now. It's all very like personal and that stuff is personal as well, but it was just like that was just what I knew, and I just like I was like, oh, rapping, like this is the kind of stuff that rappers talk about. So like even though I can't relate at all. I was like, let me write this stuff just because it sounds good.
Nah, facts. No, I totally get it because you know, I was one person that started off listening to music. I only listen to rap.
Mm-hmm.
One of my favorite rappers of all time is Biggie. So
Mm-hmm.
that's all I used to listen to. My mom, she used to whoop my ass because I was talking about the top 10, the 10 crack commandments.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So I
So
totally
you
understand from that point.
uh-huh.
So with that transition when you went in college, what was it about Common that was just like, yo, Common's dope?
Well, I really got into him. So he performed for Welcome Weekend, like my first. It
Oh,
was really the first like live
Where'd you go to
concert I ever.
school?
Temple University in Philly.
Okay.
whew.
So I grew up in New Jersey, went to college in Philly, and now I'm in New York. Um, and so yeah, Common was performing, and I had never heard of him before that. I just like saw him perform, um, and it was just like it was so good. It like he was freestyling and really like
Yeah.
he he freestyled, and I think he was talking about like George Bush and like
Mm.
political things and Osama bin Laden, and I was really into stuff like that. I was like, damn, this guy is like I like that he was like being so topical and political and just like talking about current events that anybody in the world can relate to. And I really loved that. And then that was when he had like it was like 2008 or 9. So his most recent album I think was Electric Mind Control,
Oh
and
yeah.
that one was like I feel like that one along with like Electric Circus are like his most hated albums that from like listener perspective. I feel like they don't like those generally, but I really liked that. And then I started digging into his older stuff, and then from there I started digging into like similar rappers. This is like before Spotify when you had to like search actually like
Word.
you had
Word.
to like download something or like buy a CD. And so I really started digging from there. And then like I feel like from that point is when I started getting into the old school guys like Biggie and Tupac, Tribe Called Quest, etc. So I really wasn't. I was like kind of only listening to like early 2000s, like maybe late 90s stuff at the time. And then Common was really what like you know inspired me to
Right on
search
together.
and really like widen my scope.
Okay.
I think
Okay.
I think a master tool that people have in the entertainment business is storytelling,
Yeah.
and you mentioned that. And so, what inspires your narration? What brings you about to say, I'm going to tell this story? Is it certain experiences, or take me through your journey?
It definitely started with like personal experiences. I feel like in college I was running a lot about like, certain heartbreaks that you're going through. And, I like broke my ankle, and that was like a hurdle that I had to get over. Very like, I feel like in the grand scheme of things, it was really minuscule stuff, but it was all really personal. And I always kind of put a positive spin on everything. So I feel like that was a common theme was like I would be rapping about something that's got me down, but kind of how I like triumph through that. And
Mm.
then it started kind of, it was all very literal. And as I continue to develop my skills, I try to be a little more relatable. So it's not just my personal story, and it's not like just me getting over, an injury. It's like, how can I make this more of a metaphor so that anybody going through anything, because, like I'm very privileged, and I don't have as much, struggle as a lot of the people that, started hip hop. And so it's like trying to think of what I can talk about so that I'm not, you know, just saying like poor me, these are the struggles that I'm going through. I try to just
Yeah.
make it, kind of lending a hand for anybody that's struggling or trying to overcome something.
Yeah.
Okay. So one biggest thing I in rap that I think in hip hop, let's just say in hip hop in general, is that we can tell when you're telling the truth and when you're not telling the truth.
Sure, yeah.
Is there any rappers that you've come around where you've tried to work with and you're just like, yeah, this doesn't seem real. Like this seems like this is not real at all.
Somebody that I was trying to work with, or that I was
Yeah,
listening to.
somebody's trying to feature on a song, or you've
Mm.
listened to that, like, and you're just like, yeah, this doesn't feel real whatsoever.
Mm. Dang, that's a good question.
Oh yeah.
Hmm. Honestly, nothing comes to mind.
Okay.
Um, I honestly I haven't done as many collaborations as I would have liked.
Okay.
Um, Definitely like getting more into that, especially in quarantine while we're all kind of like in our own little
Yeah.
spaces, like
Yeah.
sending tracks
Exactly.
back and forth. Um, hmm. No, I feel like I haven't really encountered that yet, as far as like my peers go.
Gotcha. Yeah, the reason why I asked that is that we listen to a lot of music, and it's just like we've come to someone's telling the story like as if they were in GTA. You know what I'm saying? They're
Yeah, yeah,
they're one of the the biggest baddest dudes, and then you find out about them, and they don't live that life at all. So it for me, like when I hear hip hop, that's what I look for. It doesn't
yeah,
matter really what predicament that you're in. It's about what you actually really speak that comes from the heart that really matters. And that's
yeah,
why
absolutely.
when we heard your music, I was just like, yo, it's really relatable and it's really real. You know what I'm saying? So I that's one point I just always wanted to say was like, I appreciate you for giving that to hip hop because that's what we need. I think a lot of people need to understand is we want the real stories, we want stories being told. We
Yeah,
don't want to hear it because you do all these other things doesn't make you an artist. It's
yeah,
for me, it's about how you can twist your story into something that can inspire or just tell somebody about your situation that they can go over.
yeah,
So again, I appreciate you for giving us that because
yeah.
a lot of people don't give us that.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you guys saying that, and I think a lot of it comes down to like when I was a kid and writing like about hot cars and girls and drugs because that was what I thought people would maybe want to listen to, and I think
Exactly.
you run into those issues where you're not being genuine in your music because you're making what you think people want to hear rather than creating your own story and then people gravitating towards that because I feel like no matter what you say people are going to like it and some people are going to relate to it like always.
Yeah. Always
Exactly.
be, yeah, I think when you're being your truest self in terms of what you're creating in your art, you can't go wrong. But don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, I do like a club banger once in a while too. You
Yeah,
feel
no,
me?
no
Like
facts. Facts.
yeah,
I gotta hear about the expensive cars. I gotta hear about all that once in a while. I gotta jam to
yeah.
it, you know.
But I think
All
I
Balance.
right.
feel like a cool place you can take that is like making a club banger that is like I don't have any club bangers in my whole
Mhm.
like in all my stuff and I'm kind of trying to work on like
I don't
all right
think. I
how
mean,
can I
I don't think everyone should do it. I
right
just think it's one of those things that the fact that they exist, I'm cool with. I'm
yeah
not trying to get inspired with bottles with my boys,
yeah
which I don't go out that much anyways. I don't order bottles with the whatever. But like, if something inspiration comes on at the club, I'll be like, something's confusing here. I
yeah
don't. I
it's not
don't
the right
know
place for
what this
this.
is saying.
No, no, I feel that. I feel that. I mean, I've been out to certain places, and of course, you got to have the ones that's gonna make you dance and whatever. You know what I'm saying? But
Hmm.
like me, like when I'm at home, like my boy Steve here, I'm drinking some whiskey. Yo, I'm trying to hear something
Yo,
deep. You
You
know what
gotta
I'm
get
saying?
some.
I'm trying. Word, I gotta hear
Yeah,
something deep.
cheers.
Word. See,
do you
yo,
ever
I gotta go
write?
get me some whiskey now.
Do you ever
Yeah.
write while you're drinking, sipping on whiskey? I don't know if you're about to tell us your artist secrets here, but like, are there any nights when those two
Sorry,
things?
what when
Do
I'm
you ever
drinking
write?
and
Yeah, do you ever write when you're having your whiskey nights? Like, is that ever a thing?
I've definitely written some stuff, and I feel like it's like if I'm writing and I'm like drunk or something, it'll usually just be like an idea for a song or some like random lyrics, and then I maybe look at them the next day, and you're like, "What the fuck? What even was that?" Like, I feel like sometimes it'll click, and you'll be like, oh, "Okay, yeah, I think this is where I was going. Let me like tweak this and like refine this," but then sometimes it'll just be like all right, I'm not going to delete this, but I'm definitely not going to do anything
I'm
with it
not
right
gonna use
now.
this for now. That's funny.
Word, word.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
great.
I do. I definitely like to drink a little when I'm performing. I feel like that loosens me up a little bit, but it's kind of like you have to hit a fine line where like you're not slurring your words on stage or forgetting your lyrics, but you're like just got the right amount of tipsy.
I know that feeling.
Wait, have you ever been in a position? You ever been in a position when you like took one too many drinks? Because that sounds like a terrifying experience.
When I'm like performing,
Mm-hmm.
there's definitely been times where I've like finished performing and been like having screwed up so many times, and like I'm like, all right, that I drank too much this time. But so I always like to, when I'm performing, I have like my vocals turned really low on the track that's going, just so like if I do lose my place, I can just like pick it up and go from there.
Word.
But it gets
Now,
tough when you have so many whiskeys.
I understand because my first episode doing the podcast, we were drunk as hell. We didn't talk about nothing. I tell people all it's like we were just drunk, and I'm like, and I listened back to it. I'm just like slurring all these words and stuff. I was like, yeah, but I kept that. I kept, like you said, you learn from that experience. I was like, I learned. So I want you to tell us, Steve. Tell us the story behind your name, Mr. Feelgood. How did that come about?
Oh, yeah.
That is a very, very unique name.
So literally, my last name is Young, and I used to always go. It's honestly, it's not as good of a story as it could be. But so like, my artist name used to be Steve Young. Just like, yeah, like so that's my full name is Steve Young. It was like my parents definitely did not know about the football player Steve Young. That was like
interesting.
Yeah, and he was like winning Super Bowls around the time I was born.
Like that would have been my first assumption. Like, oh, he was named after the quarterback.
But, yeah. No, so totally random. My parents had no idea, and then like I just feel like people have always called me Steve Young, like rather than just Steve. They'll like hit me with the full name. So I was like, that makes sense. Like that's easy. That's gonna be my artist name. And the name changed to Feel Young, honestly, when I was trying to get my stuff on Spotify, because I was like on DistroKid uploading my stuff, and it was like, there are currently 5 artists on Spotify named Steve Young. So I was like,
oh man.
All right. And I had been thinking about changing the name before that, even just because like if you Google Steve Young, I'm not going to come up at all.
You're going to see a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah. So I was like, all right, this is it. This is the time. I gotta rebrand. And so people have been saying, I forget, there was this guy that I used to perform with in Philly named Lido, who he called me Feel Young even before I changed my name to that. I think I always had a little play on like Steve Young and I'm trying to make you feel young kind of thing. So I feel like that was always like in there just a little bit. And then that Spotify, there was no artists named Feel Young, but there was like 5 named Steve. So I had to change it.
Cool. So,
but it's cool. Yeah, it's like I'm super enthusiastic. Sorry to cut you off, but just
no, you're fine. Go ahead.
When I'm on stage, just like jumping around like a little kid, and I'm just like hitting you with concepts and trying to like bring out the inner child. Sometimes I feel like a lot of stuff that I write with is inspired, even if it's like, subconsciously with like things from childhood and kind of this concept of like growing up and improving and stuff like that. So
word.
Yeah.
Well, so let me ask you this. With all the artists that are out there today and you with doing your music, what is some of the artists that you actually want to work with?
I think it would be super cool. I mean, like to work with Common would be insane. Just I feel like he's inspired so much of the way that I tell a story and the way I make music.
Word.
I feel like, Kendrick and J. Cole are like a couple of my favorites. I feel like I've recently been finding J. Cole a little corny, but it's like, I know.
Hey, bro.
I feel you. I feel you with that, because I like Kendrick Lamar more than J. Cole.
I mean, yeah, but the J. Cole being corny is what I was like.
Nah, I agree with him.
I definitely
I mean,
you know,
you have a right to your opinion. Please don't think I'm gonna be like shame, shame, shame. Like you're
yeah, no, no,
completely
I feel like some of that comes from like a place of like I see some of like the way that I tell a story and the way that he tells a story, and I'm like, I don't like the way he did that, but also I do the same exact thing, and it's like making me feel like maybe I'm corny.
Yeah.
So
So why can't
uh,
y'all both just be awesome instead of
yeah, yeah,
humbling?
yeah. I feel like the
Nah.
two of
Power,
them
man.
would be awesome. Wale is another favorite of mine.
I like
I
him
Mm.
feel like he's underrated.
very
Um,
much so. Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, I feel like those are a couple of my top, choices. I feel like Chance the Rapper would be fun.
Word.
Yeah,
Fun
I've
to
never
work
been to
with.
one of his concerts, but I feel like that'd be a really, really fun concert to be at.
Yeah,
You
yeah. I
know?
feel like it just the energy would just be like to the roof, the
Yeah.
whole time.
Okay.
I
Okay.
might jam out to some Chance the Rapper.
Yeah,
Uh,
Word. So, you got your projects. If you could just talk about all your projects for us.
sure. Yeah. So the first real project that I did that I like put effort into like getting it mixed and making it nice is called "It's Gonna Be Okay." Um, and it's like 17 songs, like a full length, um, and it's all just kind of like it's very like young. Like I feel like you listen to it and you're like, all right, this is like a kid talking about this stuff, and it's like me kind of just like making really like obvious statements and like it's gonna be okay, talking about like the troubles that I'm going through. There's a lot. There's even some kind of like I feel like I've been getting into more of like fictional narratives. There's a song on there called Popular where I kind of make up a few scenarios and talk about like the irony of popularity. Um, but generally speaking, that project is kind of like it's like maybe songs that come from a dark place or were written when I was in a dark place, but ultimately, the clouds are gonna, subside and there's gonna
Mm.
be, the bright sun coming through. Like it's always gonna be, it could always be worse, and it's always gonna be okay. So that was kind of the idea of that project. And then the next one I did after that, um, I feel like it was like each of the projects. I feel like if you listen to even just like one song from each of my projects, you can really feel the growth and feel the improvement. The next one I released after that was just called the 605 mixtape. I dropped that one on 605, June 5th. Um,
nice.
and it was just like random. It was like, that was the date that I made my website live. And it was
Ah.
like a celebratory day. I was like feeling really good. So I just had like a handful, I think like 4 or 5 songs that I was just like, I had done. They were recorded and mixed and everything. And I was like, all right, these I'm just gonna release them right here. It's like a celebratory thing, and it's cool. That's a cool project. It's not up on Spotify or anything because it's mostly samples that I haven't cleared, so I can't get those up there. But it's on my website, which is feelyoungmusic.com.
I was gonna
It's
ask you that. I was
also
like, yo, you gotta plug in. You gotta plug in where
yeah,
people can
yeah,
find this. People gotta know.
yeah, feelyoungmusic.com. It's also on my Spotify, my SoundCloud, not Spotify. So that project is cool because every song is like very different flavor. There's like all kinds of different moods. For like 5 or 6 songs, every one of them is like super different. Then the following project after that is from 2017. That one's called An Opportune Displacement. And that one is kind of, actually, I feel like my mom was a big inspiration on that because she had been laid off from a job she was working for a long time. And I feel like so her whole energy was, she created this group called the Unemployed Optimists,
Wow.
which, yeah, is just like a bunch of like unemployed, boomers getting together that like, for whatever reason, whether it
Wow.
was a recession or they weren't able to
Mhm.
really get back into their field of work. So she's a life coach. And so she would like
Mm.
hold these groups with all these, unemployed middle-aged people. And just kind of like, I feel like the whole idea of it was trying to find this opportunity in a time of unemployment or being displaced. So that
And this
was
was in
like a big
2017.
2017. Yeah.
Wow, she was way ahead of them. I mean, with what happened in 2020,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
wow.
Um, Actually, that may have been earlier than that. That was 2017 was when I released it. It was probably 2016 or so. So either way,
Wow. Yeah.
ahead of that. Um, but yeah, that one is cool. It kind of tells a story. It's just 4 songs. It's also not on Spotify, but it's on my SoundCloud and my website. And it really it's a cool project. It's kind of just about each song of the 4 songs is kind of just like trying to find an opportunity in a certain, you know, shitty situation. There's like a
Mhm.
heartbreak, and then it's like
Mm.
the stresses of growing up and getting older, and then it's like the stresses of, you know, trying to build your brand and trying to market and do work with like blogs and interviews, but meanwhile you're like stressing to create your art project, and then you've like and then the last song is kind of about how I left my career in architecture to pursue music. And
Mm.
that was a big shift for me. That was like I graduated. I went to school for architecture, had a job in architecture, and then I was like, I'm young, and this is a great opportunity for me if I wanted to like leave this, you know, full-time 9 to 5 job and just like try to make a career out of my music. And so I left that and I started working in restaurants, and just like
The dream, right?
that was the dream. Yeah.
Word.
And I feel like the music that I'm working on now, I have like I haven't released any like projects. I've released a couple like singles since then, but the project I'm working on now is kind of like it's massive. It's like I have like 21 something songs that I'm probably going to release in like 3 parts.
Mm.
And it's kind of, I feel like the narrative that I'm kind of telling now, like in addition to just like the, you know, mental challenges that I've had and certain struggles and, you know, growth and just like, you know, uh, making my way through this like music industry and the industry of Instagram and all of that stuff. Like, I feel like a big, you know, takeaway I've had for the past few years is like that I'm not so huge on like the marketing side of music, and I feel like that's okay. It is kind of the idea that I'm going with is like it's okay if I'm just making music like for myself, and I'm not really focusing too much on how I'm gonna promote it just yet. I have like a few friends that I'm working with on like, you know, trying to figure out how to market things. But I feel like just that, you know, at the time when I left the architecture job, I feel like I was like, man, if you don't have a dream, then you're fucking dead. You're lifeless. If you're like working in an office job, if you're working a 9 to 5, then like dreams, you don't have any aspirations. And then I feel like it took some growing up to realize that like maybe some people's dream is different than mine. And maybe some people's dream is to work that 9 to 5 job, you 40 hours a week, but you have your salary, your benefits, your nights and weekends off, your 2 weeks vacation, and you can spend time with your family and like building your work-life balance. And I feel like that's kind of the direction my music has been taking. Is kind of prioritizing my life and the things that I want rather than like, you know, yeah, at the time I definitely wanted to make a career in music, and maybe I don't want to like be traveling the world and performing the way I used to. And maybe I'm okay with having just a 9 to 5 job and working my music in my nights and my weekends and making time for it that way. And that's kind of like
Word.
that, you know, the dream of like grinding, working, you know, you have your job in a restaurant, and then when you get out, you go to the studio, and you're in the studio till 6 in the morning, and you know, then you sleep until whatever, and do the same thing. Like that's
Word.
great, and if you can physically, you know,
Yeah.
sustain that, cool, but you don't have to do that. And I think that a lot of people think like, oh, I love making music, I have to make a career out of it or I'm dead, you know.
Yeah.
But like to be able to balance that, I think is like is a really great achievement
It's
to
necessary. Yeah. Great job, man. I think you hit the nail on the head in terms of preaching to the fact that passion never dies.
yeah,
And we often have this illusion that when we're doing something to help us feed ourselves and keep ourselves safe, that we're going against that grain.
yeah,
When in reality, that thing never leaves our heart. We couldn't really live without it if we
Yeah.
tried,
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that's a beautiful message, man. Keep spreading that because it also speaks life into someone who may be in a situation where they don't think they're doing enough right now,
Yeah.
but they have a love for something. It's like you're
Yeah.
good,
I was
man.
definitely,
Just keep, yeah,
yeah. I appreciate you saying that.
yeah, for sure, man.
So one another question I have for you is, and this is what everybody gets on here. I have to know, what are some of your goals that you have for this year?
Hmm. Um, my goal one of my top goals would be to release the first part of this project.
Okay.
Still working on a title, but the title that I have right now is "It May Not Be Okay, but That's Okay." It's kind of
Mm.
a play on my previous work, and it's also kind of like I feel like it's cool because it's like back then I feel like it was a naive thing to say it's gonna be okay. It's like because at that time I was kind of like anytime something bad happens, it was like I would slap a bow and a ribbon on top, and it's gonna be okay. You have like something
Mm.
dark, you put some bright colors on top, it's gonna be
It's gonna
okay.
be okay.
But
Yeah.
now I feel like it's more realistic to say like things are really bad in a lot of ways, and like you can't just say it's gonna be okay. Like this fucking guy shoots up a grocery store in Colorado. Like you can't just say
Yeah.
it's gonna be okay to that.
Mm.
Like it's not okay, but that's okay. We're gonna take that and we're gonna work things and try to make it better so that it is okay. Um,
Facts.
so that's kind of like where I'm at. So one goal would be to release the first part of that. I kind of have like a first draft going. I'm like sending that out to a couple friends, getting some feedback. I'm gonna rework some things. I really loved that the Instagram live that we did. It'd be really cool to like, especially it'd be nice if like by this summer everybody's vaccinated and we can do live performances again. But until then,
Word.
it'd be awesome to keep doing those online performances.
Turn
Um,
into live battles.
that would be super cool.
That'll be dope,
Um,
man.
and I'm also unemployed right now. I was working in a restaurant that closed this past March, and
Mm.
I've been actually applying to architecture jobs, trying to get back into that. So I would say those are like my three goals: to like continue performing, whether it's online or in person, release this project, and get a job. Like I'm trying to get a full-time day job in either architecture or administrative, something like that. I'm trying to make moves.
Word, word, word. Yeah, so I appreciate you talking about the Instagram Live, man, because that's something that I definitely want to keep pushing. I love the energy that all of y'all brought to that Instagram Live.
Yeah,
That was absolutely amazing. And of course, that's going to be one of our goals as a collective, as we all keep making this as big as big. Try to make it something that we can actually do at a live event that everybody can actually see it in person, man. That'd
yeah,
be absolutely great.
That'll be amazing. That
yeah.
will be amazing.
It
Yeah,
will.
you guys
Put
are,
it into
you're
existence.
down in Virginia, right? Or
No,
Atlanta.
we're in Atlanta.
Atlanta. That's right.
Yep, yep.
I'll take
Georgia.
a
Come
trip
on
down
down.
there.
I lived in New York
There
for
you
three
go.
years. We'll they'll show you. They'll show you on the Atlanta way.
Yeah,
From
yeah.
Horizon.
I've heard
Word.
Atlanta's got a really cool like music scene.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It's really big out here.
Yeah,
So
But
come down, man. A lot of opportunity.
yeah,
there you go. There you go. So, and again, one thing that I want to say too, man. Good luck on your job search for sure, man. I know something definitely is going to come up soon
yeah,
because, yo,
Or you might
I've
be
been
touring.
yeah,
word. Yeah, you
yeah.
never know. You know what I'm saying?
Win-win.
So, with that being said, can you go ahead and drop your Instagram, your Twitter, and everything else that so people can make sure that they can listen to your project? Because I want to tell people now, if they're not listening to your music, these folks are asleep.
Yeah.
Super, super asleep. Because like I said, from the Instagram live when I first heard the music, I was like, damn, this shit is crazy. Like this is really, really good, man. So go ahead and drop all the
No,
information so they
I,
can actually listen to you, brother.
Yeah, bro.
that's,
Now go ahead and drop your social security debit card number.
Once I get my wallet, I'll give you guys
Yeah,
that
bro.
too.
So we'll wait for
Word.
it.
Yeah. So my Instagram and Twitter are both at Mr. Feel Young, just Mr. Feel Young. Um, my SoundCloud is like soundcloud.com/Mr. Feel Young. If you go to Spotify, you can search Feel Young. One of my like one of my singles is called Welcome Monday. I just performed that one on the Instagram Live. That's like one of my favorite songs. I really love how that one came out. And so if you search Feel Young, Welcome Monday, you can find that. I've got a few things up on YouTube. That's and then the website again is feelyoungmusic.com.
Cool.
I would say Instagram is the best place to stay up to date. I just got a TikTok, but I haven't done anything with that yet. But Instagram is definitely the best spot to get the quickest updates.
Word. Yeah, I was going to say, you already know I'm following you, man. But, I just, before we go, I just got to ask this question. We've been trying to figure this out. What in the world would you, like, with TikTok? Everybody's talking about, you should use that as a marketing tool or whatever. I'm not dancing. Luigi's not dancing. You know what I'm saying? So, honestly, like, what would you do marketing wise with TikTok?
Once I figure it out, I'll let you know.
Bro, cool. Bro,
like, I got you.
I'm just like you. I'm a millennial out here. I'm gonna get bullied by these Gen Z kids.
Yeah, right.
You will. Yes, you will. But you're a white skilled rapper.
Yeah.
Just rap to the camera, brother. People are gonna see you.
Yeah, that's true.
People are gonna see you.
So I should rap too, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I got 5 bars. See. Yo, my number one hater right here.
Kelvin, you can do anything you put your mind to.
That's right.
I like that answer. But all right, man. Steve, again, I appreciate you for coming on here, man. And of course, we're going to keep seeing each other because, like I said, every 16th of the month, we are going to do the Instagram Live. We're going to have all these artists come on here. And we're going to make sure that we get this talent out here. And of course, we're going to definitely have more interviews. This isn't just the only one we're going to have. We're going to bring Steve back. We're going to talk hip hop.
Yeah, man.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm looking forward to see what Steve's going to do with this TikTok because I really got to see this, man.
Yeah, I got to see it because again, Kelvin is not going on TikTok and dancing. Like I can't do it, man. Too big for that.
Break dancing, bro.
Yeah.
Word. All right, well, this is the Modern Crowd Podcast, and we out, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks so much for having me again. Great meeting you, Luigi.
Hey, great to meet you too.